Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Paul Reed and I'm a professional photographer. This channel really concentrates mostly on monochrome photography. I love black and white photography and this channel really is dedicated to that. I'm going to be showing you a whole bunch of monochrome images that I've taken, and I never want this channel to just be me talking. I always want plenty of photographs there for you to look at and for you to be inspired by. I get sick of watching a lot of YouTube channels where it's all just the talking. I just want to see images and I want to be inspired, and that's what I want to do for you too. So we're coming to the end of a year now and we're going into 2024. How can I improve going forward into the next year? How can I be a better photographer? And I've got some ways that I'm applying to myself, and I do this every year. So I'm going to share that with you. The number one thing that I do at the end of every year is to go through all of my best images from that year, because sometimes it gets to the end of the year and you can start to feel a little bit flat. You can start to feel maybe a little bit anxious about the year ahead. Sometimes you're not feeling that excitement. You're wondering, have I made any progress at all as a photographer? Well, a great way to just have a look at that is to go through your work for that year and just that year alone, and then see how have you been doing. I found the best way to do this is really throughout the year, but you can still do it now, and that's to go through all your images in Lightroom and then basically just put a keyword tag on there. Now you can put any keyword that you want on there, but just put something that you know that at that point that you consider that to be one of the best photographs that you've ever taken. So then by the end of that year, then you can look and just filter it just by those images and then see how you've done. But if you probably haven't done that, so this is what I want you to do now, is actually just go through all of those images and just keyword each of the images from this year that you believe is your best photographs that you've taken. The next thing that I do is I just export all of those images to JPEGs, and then I send them all off for printing. Now when I say send them off for printing, I'm not talking like the best prints that you can possibly get. I'm talking about those cheap 6x4 prints that are pence per print. When those photographs come back, I then stick them all to a board, something like this, and then what that means is rather than sticking all of these photographs to your wall, you can just stick them to these boards, and then you can pin these boards to your wall, and then you can take them off, and then you're not making too much mess pinning individual photographs onto the wall. But the reason why it's a great thing to do this and to put these images onto your wall is because it just puts them there for every day for you to see. And then this is where you actually start to discover, actually maybe that photograph isn't that great because I'm already sick of it. If you get sick of an image, one of your own images, by the second week that those images are up on your wall, you can guarantee somebody else is going to get sick of that image as well. So it's best to just take that image off the board. Now I've got boards and boards of these, and I just keep them on the boards, and then you can just put them away nicely whenever you don't want them on the wall. So I'm going to be doing that with all of the images that I consider to be my best images for this year. By the end of the year, it's likely that you're going to have some of these boards with lots of photographs missing from them, because during that year there's going to be a lot of photographs on there that you're just going to think, they're not actually as good as what I thought they are. But for now, just get those all printed and then start putting them on boards and get them up on a wall somewhere where you can see them all of the time. And that's a really good way just to see how you're doing as a photographer. I've already done this process. I haven't put them off for printing yet this year's, but what I'm going to do is, and this is probably going to go on over a few episodes, I'm going to go through the images that I consider to be my favorites from this year, and these are the ones that I'm going to end up printing out. Looking at these images and hearing my commentary is going to help you understand what I'm thinking by keeping these images as favorites. I'm just going to take a moment now just to let you know some other ways that you can improve your photography over this next year. I've got 3 ways that I could provide you with a way to improve your photography. The first is the workshops that I run. Here's some dates and locations where I've got some great upcoming workshops. They're in London and Glasgow, and these are group workshops with a maximum of only 6 people per workshop. This keeps everything very intimate and everybody is included, nobody's left out. If you can't make it to one of those, there's another option for you. You could do one of my online workshops. This is over 4 Zoom sessions weekly, and I go through my approach to photography, and it's really tailored to each individual, but I go through everything from composition to lighting, just everything that you need to know to improve your monochrome photography. Or the third thing that you could do to improve your photography is have me mentor you by joining my online mentorship program. I do this in either 4 or 8 months. This really is tailored to each individual. But if you're kind of struggling, I've got nobody to talk to about an upcoming project, or maybe you're thinking about doing a book, an exhibition, a zine, whatever that is, sometimes you just need another photographer to talk to, and somebody that's going to critique your work, tell you what to include, what not to include, and then help you in the areas that you need help. For any of these 3 options, just go to the link in the description and give me a shout. I'll be happy to help you out. I absolutely love this photograph. Again, this was taken in London. I mean, you'll see that a lot of my photographs are pretty much character driven, and this is something which I love. And I do love those images where, you know, there's lots of kind of geometric lines and light and shadow and all of that sort of thing. But I also really love these character driven images, and just this girl, she's just got that kind of almost a timeless look to her, and there she is smoking on a cigarette, and I just really love this shot. This is another shot taken in London, and you know, it's a lo-fi type of image. It's really grainy and noisy, and my ISO was, you know, was really high. But and then also the subject, you know, they're out of focus and the background's in focus, which, you know, is where sometimes, you know, you could just you know, you're zone focused in a place where isn't for where you were wanting to take that photograph. But in this case, I thought it really worked, and I do love this shot a lot. This is another image taken in London again. So far, all of these have been taken on the Leica Q2 monochrome. Now, this again, it's just this girl, just, you know, I just liked her look, what she was wearing. Again, just kind of that timeless look to her. And I originally kind of cropped in on this image and ended up just cropping back out again, because I just, you know, I wanted the hustle and bustle of the people walking around behind her as she just stood there still. So I did take some time traveler images this year. I haven't took many, but I just, you know, have taken some, and these ones where he's just looking into the light there, and I do love these shots. I love both this one and this one as well, and I love both of these photographs. This kind of almost is him surrendering, you know, it's as almost I can imagine somebody with a gun on him or something like that. And I love this one with this horse. It was really snowing a lot, and you know, we were just absolutely freezing when we were taking these photographs. Here you can see how bad the snow was. And here again, another time traveler shot. I love this one as well. Just love all of this really, and it's another one of my favorite time traveler shots. So this is in my hometown of Carlisle, and I love this shop front, and I've seen it many times before. And I've took photographs of it before, and I love the light that is sometimes on this shop front. And just so happened that this woman walked past, and I just thought, yeah, maybe I just could do with just that extra element of just that human element in this image, just to maybe just kick it off. And I love this photograph. This is another photograph that I absolutely love. I love, again, just love everything about this image. Very character driven, in a cafe in Carlisle, and I can just look at all of these different items, her bag with the Union Jack on it and all this, and her just reading her book there. This image actually did win a Leica Master Shot Award, and I was really pleased about that. So this is an example of whenever something goes wrong and you've focused on the wrong part, and I'd focused on the buildings behind, and then this gentleman just walks into scene and I just snapped it. But I actually really love these happy accidents sometimes, and I thought it really suited, what he was wearing and everything. I love this image, even though, it wasn't me trying to be clever and intentionally making him out of focus, but I still absolutely love this image. This photograph I absolutely love. Again, so character driven. The wind in his hair and just her linked onto his arm like that. I just absolutely love this image. It's an example as well of, sometimes people are so concerned and trying to bring those highlights back in skies and things like that, whereas it can be so unnatural sometimes to really bring all of the detail back in a sky. If you had big clouds as well, and it just starts to look too HDR for me. So sometimes I will just let things just go on the verge of blowing those highlights out in the background. This photograph, again, I absolutely love this image as well. So pleased with this one. And just a chance photograph where this lady just walked out of number 43, that door there, and just stood there for a second. I love the depth to this image as well. It's something where, you've got the people in the cafe behind and just reflections, but then her really driving this image, almost wearing the same coat as the dog, really. This is in Carlisle again, which is my hometown, and this steam vent, I've walked past this so many times and I've never seen steam coming out of it ever. And this one day there was actually steam coming out of the steam vent, so I thought, right, I'm gonna have to photograph this. But I really love this image, and it's just another one of my favorites from the year. So this is a funny one because I took this, it was actually at night or very early morning before the sun had came up, and this is one of those images where I took it and just kind of thought, nobody's going to even understand this photograph. Nobody's going to even want to look at this photograph, but I love it and I love everything about it. So sometimes you don't need that human element in a photograph to make it work. I think sometimes something is just fine on its own without that human element in it. And I love this photograph and I stand by this image now. I don't care if people don't like it or if they do like it. It's just something which I love. This one was taken in Edinburgh, and again, I love this image. I love the window behind. I love, just what she's wearing, the gloves, the glasses. She's not completely sharp. That sometimes happens when you zone focusing and you just get it wrong a little bit. But it just doesn't matter. I just love this photograph. This photograph I took of a guy who I bumped into in Edinburgh, and he basically asked me if I would take his photograph, and of course I said yes, and I ended up
taking this photograph of him, and actually the next time I was in Edinburgh again, I took his portrait again, which I'm sure I'll have that one in here too. Love doing street portraits. It's one of my favourite things to do, and I just loved what this girl was wearing, just that hat and those glasses and everything, and I just thought I need to get this girl's photograph. So I actually just asked her, just says, can I take your photograph? She was there with her brother, whose photograph I did take as well, but this was the best of the two, and this stays in my favourites. Love this image as well. This is just on a very windy day in Edinburgh. Sometimes I kind of stand by the crossing, or and start to walk across and look to see who's coming across from the other side of the road, and just zone focus and get ready for that person who I'm really kind of concentrating on to enter into the zone. This image I took basically as soon as I got onto the bus, and I just looked at the scene straight away, and I actually snapped this from the hip. I positioned myself so that I knew that it was going to be straight, and I knew it was going to be right down the middle. 28mm lens is great if you ever need to do something where you're shooting from the hip, because it includes such a wide range of what's there, that it's likely that all of those elements are going to be in the image. This is a photograph of my other half, my better looking half, and this was during a little trip to Edinburgh. She took me for my 50th birthday to Edinburgh, so this was just her getting ready before we were going out. And then this is another one, and yeah, I just love these shots. It brings back memories of that day, and it also just, well, obviously for my reasons, because it's my girlfriend, and I just love these images. This photograph was taken of a girl in Edinburgh, and she just stood out, and this was actually taken with a Leica Q3, so it just shows you that even the Q3 it has such detail. You don't necessarily need a monochrome sensor camera in order to get this crazy high detail. It's not always the most flattering of things, to be honest. Sometimes it's worth maybe putting one of those black pro mist filters onto your lens on this Leica lens, on the Q3, Q2 and the Q2 monochrome, just to soften the textures a little bit. But I think it worked on this image, and she just looks fantastic in this photograph.
We've run out of time this episode, but I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to put maybe 1 or 2 episodes a week of me just going through those images, and even going through to showing the printing part of that as well. Thanks again everybody for watching. I'll see you next year.